Welcome back to Beyond the Build, where construction, entrepreneurship, and family life intersect. In this episode, we are sitting down with our Directors of Preconstruction, Lalita and Edgar, to discuss why pre-construction communication and expectation setting matter more than craftsmanship alone. So welcome to the podcast. Thank you guys for being here.
It's good to be here.
For having us.
It's quite the treat.
How are the nerves feeling, Lalita?
Hi. I usually don't have an audience like this on a job site.
I feel your tension across the table.
It'll dissipate as we go.
I have a little flask in my pocket, so I'm just going to take a few swigs once in a while.
You can do that. It's 10:16 a.m.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Monday morning. Here we go.
How's your guys' week going?
Amazing. Yeah, I got in from a trip last night, so I'm a bit tired this morning, but we should get this through this pretty well. Yosemite.
Nice.
Almost got snowed in.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Being down in the valley.
What does that mean?
So when you're
For
in
those that
Yosemite
haven't
Valley.
been there, because I have been to Yellowstone, but
So in Yosemite, you have these massive cliffs, and just being on the valley down there, it's completely flat, and you just have these vertical mountains going up from the ground, and I've never seen anything like it. Standing in one place, doing a 360, and just looking around you, it's incredible.
So just
It
like
was
the beauty
moving.
of that.
Oh, it was
That's
stunning.
yeah. Do you feel grounded?
I feel like I found myself. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was an emotional experience for sure. I've wanted to go there since I was a kid, so it was huge for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, Yosemite's a lot of fun. My best friend in high school got married in Yosemite.
Yeah, I saw there was a chapel down
Yeah,
there.
and so we did
Yeah.
we did the bachelor party
cool.
there and everything. And
Yeah.
I'll say it's half fun, half you're worried about bears.
Yeah.
Did you see
No.
bears?
Did not see any bears.
How did Bailey like it?
She loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. Saw a bunch of coyotes and some deer,
nice.
but it was cold though. So I
Big
think
thing's the air though, right? It's pristine air.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
I slept like a baby.
And you
Yeah.
didn't have to fight any bears.
No fighting bears.
Yeah.
No.
Lalita, how was your weekend? What was your
I
highlight?
feel like Edgar had a very adult vacation. I went to the Renaissance Festival.
Ooh, I
Did
heard
you
that's
dress
so
up?
fun.
I did dress up.
Madam, what
Someone
did you
called
dress
me
as?
Fair Maiden. I was like, oh.
That's what they call the women there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was very whimsical and a good
Cool.
time. Yeah.
Did Mike dress up?
Mike did dress up. He went with a German theme. He wore his lederhosen that he
No
got
way.
in Germany
Hey.
and like the hat. So
Yeah.
not necessarily period appropriate. Everyone
fun.
dressed up as
Very
something
cool.
Nice.
fun. Yeah. My friend dressed up as Buddy the Elf. That got a lot of laughs.
Oh, that's cute.
So it was really cute.
That's super cute.
Okay, so yeah, let's dive into something that really makes this a really cool process here at Scully Build, which is our pre-construction process. For those of you listening that don't necessarily know what pre-construction process is, think of it like a planning agreement. It's kind of when you're going to do a big wedding and there's so many different elements that need to be orchestrated and planned, and so you hire somebody to come in there and take the reins and walk you through each individual step and all the decision making that needs to happen along the way. That's what we perform for our clients in our pre-construction process. Construction is filled with many moving parts, from the labor to get the work done, to the materials that are going to go into the project, to the permitting process and getting the government to comply with what we're doing. It's really a tedious process, and so you need to have people that are educated in all fronts of construction and can walk you through each part of it without getting too frustrated, and be able to get a plan for actually building the project that you want to do. So Edgar and Lalita, what's something that happens in our pre-construction process that clients don't see but have a huge impact on the success of the project?
I think for what we do in the background is such a big deal, and we go through so many processes that the clients never see. So we'll ask the designer or the architect for information, and once we have that information, there's so many cogs in the background that's turning that we work through. So by the time we are swinging hammers, we are 100% organized, and the difficult part usually is that takes time. You can't I see it being a bit of a red flag when any builder can tell you that they can start within a couple of weeks. So I think that process is huge. So when that process might take 4 weeks, it might take 10 weeks, depending on the size of the job. But once we get through it and we start, not just the client, but ourselves as a construction company is 100% confident to get going and be as efficient once we start.
Yeah, I think as jobs get bigger, more complicated, and you have Instagram now that's showing you all these crazy design details that are beautiful and look like and they are executed oftentimes flawlessly, but there's so much coordination and background information that goes in to doing all of this, where it's multi-trade coordination just for this particular outlet style that you're looking for. So there's so much little detail that goes into it, and we're doing a lot of catching things early on into the process. We're reviewing mechanical plans, electrical, plumbing plans, making sure all of those coordinate with one another, especially as we're working inside of condos or commercial space buildings where there's a lot more restrictions, regulations, what you can and can't do. And sometimes a designer might not understand the intricacies of what a building will allow you to do, whether it's a home or a condo or a commercial building. And so we're taking their artistic vision and doing all the background work to make sure we can execute on that properly without any delays midway through construction.
Yeah, and I think a big misconception that happens a lot of times is when we come and meet clients, one of the first things we ask is we do ask what their budget is. And I think a misconception is that we want to always increase that number.
Yeah.
But that is actually why we're doing our pre-construction process, is because we want to align all the parties with that budget that you want to spend. I always bring it to cars, right? And it's like, if you go to a Ferrari dealership, they're going to sit you down and there's going to be a lot of options that you can pick, and each one of those options is going to significantly raise the price. So you've got to be mindful of what you wanted to spend right when you walk in there from the beginning. And so
or have a contingency in your head. The way I always describe it to clients, with which you guys have all heard me say, is essentially like you decide where the stopping point is, because there are so many details and material selections that can increase your budget instantly that you have to decide, and you have to be firm where your stopping point is, because everybody else is taking, like the architect and the designer is taking their creative freedoms and they're making a really cool vision and product, but you need to decide what your end number is. And the whole purpose of pre-construction is clarity on price versus scope of work.
Yeah, and I think when you do ask that question, the client firstly goes, oh no, they're going to estimate towards this price, which is not it's not the case at all. But us as the directors of pre-construction, we are directing things from where we meet the client to where we hand that over to our construction team. So we ask that question so that we are aligned before we start meeting with a designer, because we might be working with the architect now, but later through the process, we'll bring the designer in on the team to start with their process. But if we don't know in what direction, because we can go to town on everything and we can double your budget because it's the nicest things we can find or that the designer wants, but that's where I'll have the difficult conversation sometimes with the architect and designer to keep them aligned with the client's expectations.
Yeah, I like to bring up chandeliers. There's $10,000 chandeliers and there's $100,000 chandeliers.
And more, Josh.
And more.
There's more.
And
the sky's the limit.
We're just executors. So we don't, we actually, to us, doesn't matter what chandelier you pick. We just want to know how to install it and make sure that it doesn't fall to the ground. But that's where a lot of clients need guidance. Is there's a lot of moving parts to the build, not just your chandelier. So do you want to spend $100,000 on that one chandelier, or should we scale back so that maybe you can do some bigger upgrades in other areas of the house?
Well, I think historically how people perceive builders, contractors, tradespeople, there's just this large lack of trust, and largely because there have been a lot of not great professionals out there. And so we're coming in, sometimes it feels like where they're holding their number to their chest because that's their playing card. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm probably going to be at or above this. If you don't tell me, I'm just going to assume some of the nicest things because you live in a nice house, versus if you're honest with me from the get-go, we can start value engineering from the second we walk in. There's been so many projects where I've walked in on, the architect and the designer don't even know what the budget are. They're like, they won't tell us. They're holding it to their chest. I was like, how are you designing to this? But then that creates this big rift of, now they're designing to the moon because no one involved other than the homeowners
setting parameters.
Understand what the budget is, and we're trying to work backwards. So there's a couple months of architecture and design pricing that, and then we start all over again. So it's difficult, and I think it's a trust building process. And once we release that initial number, I think oftentimes they're like, okay, we know where it's at, and they can let the barriers down. But there's a couple months of this back and forth dance that's created from that.
Yeah, and I
you're
think you
right.
can save time and money by getting that information earlier.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Some people just truly don't understand what they're going to spend on their
That's
renovation or their addition or extension, whatever it is. And that's okay too, but the people that have a number in mind that then aren't willing to share it in the beginning, it definitely does a disservice to them, because then they have to go back and value engineer.
Yeah, my favorite is when they ask a friend that was in construction 15 years ago about what they think it's going to cost, and like, no, guys,
But
it's
in a totally different city, in a totally different state.
not. Your 2,000 square foot addition is not going to be $100,000.
Yeah.
I wish.
I wish.
We wish.
Yeah.
Okay, that leads into our next question. What is something you guys wish a client understood before starting a build?
I think for me, it's once we start the building process is for the client to trust us, because we've built that trust up to this point. Now you have to let us do our job. And myself, I've built a house before. I'm a terrible client. You don't want to build a house for me at all. So
I'm like the best client.
so I understand why they're feeling that way. So it's, for me, you just have to let us do our thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes the client wants to get involved because I think it's helping us, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's really slowing us down instead of letting us just do our thing.
Decisions are dollars. That's how I see it. Truly,
Boom. Yeah.
if a lot of times these smaller design decisions are done midway through construction, everyone's so anxious to start demolition, to start the process, because they've been working on it for 1, 2, 3+ years sometimes on
And
these
saving
larger.
for it for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So I think everyone's eager to see work start, but they don't realize that we need all of those decisions early on so we can figure out what it's going to cost, what it's going to take, and set proper expectations. And that's the hard part when we're rushed to get going. We kind of lose some of that ability to have transparency throughout the process.
And you touched on this earlier, but you said every decision, like for example, a bocce outlet, it has a domino effect with a lot of other trades. So it's countertop or tile, electrical, drywall. So every decision that's made isn't just one trade decision. It leads to other decisions, which ultimately slows your job down if you're doing it during the construction piece.
Yeah, we don't ever want to go back and rework. We want to be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
everyone
not good
says.
for anybody to be inefficient.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that clients understood that there's definitely a level of management that you should have on your contractor. However, there gets to a point where if you go over that level of management, you actually start to get a worse outcome. Our team is designed in a fashion that we catch the mistakes, we go back and correct them. I spend a great deal of time reminding clients that there's no robots in our industry. We're all humans with human hands, and humans are flawed. And that is why you hire good management. So we go behind our crew and we quality control, and we make sure that we get the job done right. So a lot of times a customer might see something before we see it and think to themselves, why haven't they done something about it? We were always going to do something about it. We're just not quite at that point. Sometimes I wish we would get a little bit more trust.
And that's why we have our specialized teams, is to avoid.
Yeah, I think having trusting clients is super important because, and I always say this too, but everybody has their expertise. Everybody is an expert at some things and not everything. So letting us be the experts in construction and post-construction is most beneficial and fruitful for everybody involved, because there's a lot of intricacies and details that you don't need to understand or want to understand. So I think that's been like something that I've definitely leaned into in my 30s more, is who, not how. And I'm not an expert at everything. I'm not good at everything, and that's okay. We shouldn't all be good at everything, and our clients understand that they're really good at whatever they're doing and we're really good at whatever we're doing. And of course we value their input and want their collaboration, because that's very important, but not the micromanagement piece.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so what are some of the hardest conversations that y'all have had up front but know are necessary?
Budget, timeline. That's it. Everyone has expectations. I think now we're entering this age of AI, and how you enter a prompt sometimes can also impact what it spits out at you. So you have with their own expectations, the quick video reactions on Instagram where boom, and you see what was probably a 1.5 to 2 year long project done. Exactly. So in Snap, we live in this world of instant gratification. And like you said, this is a craft. This is not engineered in a facility where everything is pre-done and a machine spits it out. There's labor involved, there's planning involved, there's sometimes redoing involved in that whole process.
There's people involved, like you said, yeah.
There's people involved, and allowing that breathing space to make sure you have a perfect product is part of a high-end build. That's what you want. You don't want your construction to be so limited that there's no time to come back and think through things or redo anything. And then obviously there's budget that's involved. I'll let Ed talk about that some more.
Yeah, it's always about managing expectations with the clients, and that's very important. And for me, the toughest ones are where we have to walk away because the client's expectations don't line up with what our historic data is telling us, because that is what we build our timeline on, our scheduling. Everything's based off that. It's not us sitting there thumb sucking and going, okay, we think this is how long it's going to take. We're telling you how long it will take because we've done it that many times. So those are tough to walk away from because you want the best for the client. But when you start off on a lie, it's not good because you're starting off on the wrong foot. So sometimes you have to have that tough conversation and move on. And they contact us a couple of years later usually and go, hey, you know what, your timeline was right.
Yours.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we hear those kind of conversations once a month. I think you had one recently where they came back to you, and I'm sure you did too, where they were like, they under-delivered.
Yeah. 100%. They really regretted their decision. They're like, we're already in it. And I'm like, it is what it is. You brought up a lot. I think we go up against that a lot. I think because we care and because we want to have these trusting, honest processes. We're upfront about budgets, about timelines, about expectations. And sometimes we're up against other people in our industry that, and I don't know if it's always an intentional lie. I don't know if it's a lie to get the sale or if it's just wishful thinking of like, oh yeah, it'll probably take this, or oh yeah, it'll be this. But then once they're nearing towards the end of the project, oh, it ballooned because of X, Y, Z, and I didn't think through this.
And I think the big thing is Sean specifically and Josh are so data driven, and you guys are too, of course, but they're so data driven, and we collect so much data on pricing and timelines and through Builder Trend and other various ways that we take that data and that's our fact versus...
And what's the point of taking in all that data if you're not going to use it?
And then now we have it ethically and morally, that's what we're going to use. And I think I describe that to clients. I'm like, we're extremely data driven. We collect a lot of data at the end of every project, and it's very important for us to present that properly to you. And when we're not competing against somebody who's collecting a lot of data, I just don't think they have the information.
The relationship is really a big part of it too. Not only the relationship with our clients, but with our trade partners. So with architects, with designers, with anyone else who we're working on there with, we want to continue working with these people. There's this referral process that goes back and forth. And I say that's like, I need to set good expectations because we have to either match these or beat these, because that will be you being elated and telling your neighbors, telling your friends. That's how our business is run by, not through ad space online. It's through referral partnerships. So we have to do
Josh used to say as well, you sell this job to everyone. You're not just selling it to the client, you're selling it to the architect, the designer, the tradesman, even your team in-house. You just have to sell them that job and explain to them why you think this is going to be successful. Because if you don't have a successful project, you're losing twice. Because first of all, now you have a pissed off client and they're not going to give you a referral. So for us, we do this to get referrals because that is 90% of our business is referrals.
Yeah, and I think a hard conversation in upfront in sales is letting the customer know that the quantifiableness of communication.
Yeah.
I've heard a million stories from customers that went with other businesses where they sign the contract and then they don't hear or see or know what's going on for the next 6 months. And it really stresses them out throughout the whole project, and they have a super high level of frustration. And so most of the time they hate that contractor by the end of the project. And so it's hard for us to let customers know up front that is the high level of service you're getting with Skelly Build. We are going to communicate on an exponential level You're going to know everything that's happening. If anything, we're going to over communicate, and probably you're going to have to tell us to scale it back because we're talking to you so much. But that's our goal.
Yeah.
We don't want you to feel like you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and we're going to tell them stuff that they don't want to hear sometimes. But sorry,
They
guys,
gotta
it's
hear it.
happening.
News,
Yeah.
right?
What
Yeah,
I like
but-
to do in situations like that is like where we're up against another builder, I'll say, here's the list of 10 questions you should ask that builder. How much are you going to be communicated to every week? What is your permitting process like? What do you handle in-house?
Yeah.
Tell me specifics.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I walked you through all of that during the initial conversation, but you didn't know to ask those questions.
Yeah.
So here's your list of questions. Okay, sure, I get it. Of course, there might be somebody else in the running, but here's the list of questions to ask them to really dial in, because just saying, I like to communicate, or I have a high level of communication is one thing, and you want to believe that builder, but it's like, what does that communication actually
What
look
does
like?
that look like?
What technology do you utilize? Like, how do you show me that?
I think people just
Boom.
underestimate.
Mic drop.
Then I'm like, sorry.
You underestimate how long you're involved together. You're married to that client for the next year and a half, depending on the size of the job. That's a long time to maintain a good relationship. So it's tough.
Yeah. Okay, so what is a moment where your process really proved its value during pre-construction?
I think mine, unfortunately, mostly happens of clients that we didn't get. I think it really is. I have clients on a monthly basis coming back to me 2 years later going, your timeline was spot on and your estimate was actually less than what I ended up paying. So for me, that 100%.
Yeah, it's hard to hear those conversations, but it's validating because you're like, okay, I did go in and do the right thing initially. And sometimes that's tough.
Because we spend that time up front to put as much thought and details into our estimate. So for us, we are usually more expensive, not necessarily because our work's more expensive, but we're just more detailed. So we're adding more things in and we're not expecting to add them throughout the project.
Yeah.
So I believe that we are the most accurate estimators in the business.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought. One is let's start swinging a hammer and figure it out later.
Yeah.
And the other is let's figure it all out now before we swing a single hammer.
Yeah.
And we're definitely the latter of that.
For sure.
Yeah, I think a large part of pre-construction too, and it's kind of a niche piece, but there's economical factors outside of our control. There's COVID-19, which is funny. I'm sure people will be bringing this up for our next lifetime. Of
They still bring it up.
100%.
Has it been 6 years? Yeah. Yes, you're right.
But that, and then we had the tariffs conversation more recently too. And part of that pre-construction is planning and getting that done now so we could be proactive. Part of the COVID-19 factors were large delays with appliances, large delays with windows. Had we have been a builder that starts demoing immediately, you would have had a house sitting there because now you have things that are randomly doubling in lead time. And instead we're saying, pick everything now. We're setting your timeline based off of when we need these and putting in some buffer time within that too. So it's setting those expectations.
At the end of a project, what makes a client feel like it was a success beyond just the final product?
Good question.
I think a lot of our projects are showpieces. I hate to say, but it's true. Whether
They're stunning, yeah.
For themselves, this is something that a lot of people have saved up a lifetime for. Some people do multiple of these projects throughout their lifetime, but showing themselves that they've made it, creating this happy, healthy environment for themselves, or showcasing it to other people as well too. And my favorite projects are the ones where I feel like once I walk away from them, I'm like, this is a friend now. I can genuinely say that we're friends, we keep up with each other, and I don't think a lot of people can say that about their contractors.
Yeah, the way I estimate and the way we do business, for me, it's one of the reasons I came to Skelly Builds, because I felt like this is a company that does that, is that in 10 years from now, when I run into someone on the street, I can look in the eye, shake their hand and go, how's that house going? Because I know it's going to be standing. We did it the right way. We didn't skip or cut corners. So I know it's a good product, and I feel very proud about that.
Yeah, I tend to feel like if I can go to your house and hang out with you at the end of the project and we have a good couple laughs, then that is a measure of success. Because there's so many horror stories out there in the world of client-contractor relationships completely deteriorating to the point where they hate each other's guts.
Yeah. I play golf with some of my past clients. And
Of course you do. I think relationship building is definitely my answer too. I think relationship building is very important, and that does feel like a success at the end of the project whenever you've built a relationship. And there is such a large team. There are hundreds of people that are working on these large scale projects. So having a good relationship, but also part of a relationship is, you know, not necessarily an argument, but it's conflict and resolution.
Yeah.
And those are very normal parts of any good relationship you have in your life. That is how you move forward and you grow stronger. We very much understand that there's going to be conflict, and they say at the beginning of a project, if you have something that you're not liking or you vision differently or isn't the same in construction as you saw it on paper, communicate that to us and we can create solutions and work through it. And I think that is what builds a good relationship in the end, because like all of our clients that give us frequent referrals from the past, there were issues throughout those projects, but it was about the response that they respected.
And making people feel comfortable enough to give that response. I think that's hard. Diana, maybe you can relate to this. I don't know if you've ever gotten a bad haircut or a bad nail job. Boys, you too?
Yeah, my haircut right now sucks.
I feel like in my personal life, sometimes I'm so scared to make people feel uncomfortable. It's so much easier in work. There's expectations. Everyone needs to align, and it's so straightforward. But there, I'm like so scared to make someone feel bad because they cut my hair wrong or they're doing my nails wrong. And I'm like, oh, and I just live with it. But I go back and I'm like, I'm not going to go there again. And so I think that's part of that process is making people feel comfortable. I want you to give feedback because we can execute 100% to what we have built on a plan set sometimes. And you're like, oh gosh, I just hate it now. And I'd rather you say that and then we redo it. And then every day you go to your bathroom or office space or whatever we're doing and you love it. Exactly.
And I think that's what we do with every project. At the end, we sit down, we go through the finances of the project, what went well during the process of the entire project, and we adjust our company to that too. So whatever we learned in this one, we'll take on to the next project, into the next project, and that's really what has set us apart. Is we are willing to say, hey, this didn't go as well, but let's bring this into the next project so we can be better.
Yeah, constantly
Lifelong
improving.
learning.
Lifelong learning and constantly improving our processes.
Caring for
sure.
people and their spaces.
We do. We do, and we understand the importance of, like Lalita said, they could have saved a lifetime for this. It's really high cost, and we understand that and don't take it lightly. So it's
all about
important.
respecting that budget that they have too. For me, $100,000 is a lot of money, but for some people, it's maybe not. But if I
It's a
saved,
very small percentage of the world.
I saved up that a long time to spend that, we want to respect that throughout the whole process.
Okay, final question before we get to rapid fire. What does being a fixed price builder change for the client emotionally?
I feel like everything we've been talking about is building up to this exact thing. It's that trust process, and being a fixed cost builder makes that so much easier for us because we're coordinating so much, and we do mess up on pricing labor trades.
Of course.
And you just don't see that. You don't see the effect of that.
As the client,
underbid electrical by 10K, we eat that. And that's our learning lesson from it versus a cost plus. You pay whatever you pay, right? You're paying for the builder mistakes, whereas here we have to execute to what the expectations are of the architect, the designer, the client, everyone involved. And then we tell you up front, so you're not stressing about those numbers. And I think it also releases a certain job from the clients. The client's already doing a certain level of project management, and they're not on site every day, but coming in, we still expect them to check in because we want their feedback. So there's a project management portion there. Sorry.
Water break.
There's a project management element to it, but we don't want them to feel like they're financial managers. We don't want them to sit and look through all of the invoices and dig through everything. You know what the price is. It's going to change if we uncover something.
Or if you add things.
Or if you add things. And that's usually the number one thing is if you add but that's easier for people to digest because they have control of that. Them choosing the labor pricing, things like that, they have no control of that. So we're just taking ownership of it. That's really what it boils down to.
By the time they sign on the dotted line, I've told clients in the past where if you don't feel comfortable by the time you sign that number, I didn't do my job.
Sure.
Because by then I should have built that trust and gone through the process in detail so that you feel confident that what we're signing is what it's going to be. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, for me, I think it displays a level of confidence.
Yeah.
That we're going to go in there and actually give you a price to do this project. I think it, from an estimating standpoint, it's much easier to give you a budget and then grossly go over that by the end of the project.
Yeah.
So I always say be wary of the lack of effort that can go into a cost plus model, because there's a lot of things that really haven't been thought through and won't be until you reach that point in time that you're doing that work. Whereas in a fixed price model, that's our job. Our job is to go in detail, figure out all those variables that are going to happen, and account for them in our estimate.
Yeah, I've gone up against other builders where it's a $2 million project and it's one page.
Yeah.
This was one page. And I go, you want to sign that? I'm like, are you insane? You know, why are we even having this conversation?
$2 million at the bottom of one 11 by 8. No, thank you.
It may be $2 million.
Give or take.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Oh, and we'll be done in 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So no, we stand by our numbers for sure. That is horrifying. But it happens.
Yeah, and I think this is good for the clients to hear, to be educated on what the differences are.
Yeah.
Because a cost plus model is prevalent in our industry, and there is a 0% chance you land on that budget.
Yeah.
And then I think we can go deeper and say that we have subcontractors that we exclusively work with that we know they provide the high level of service and the high level of quality that we're looking for on our showpiece projects. And so that direction should be left to us as far as who we want to use on the project and who we deem fit. The cost plus model gets a little bit too into the weeds of what subcontractor you're going to pick. And so there's variables behind the scenes that the client doesn't understand that we do when working with these subcontractors.
I have an anecdote, and this happened, I think, early into my career at Skelly. I was running up against a cost plus builder on a project. So I was talking through with a framer on this project and trying to negotiate some of the prices down, right, as we should be doing every single time. And he's like, why are you beating me up on costs? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I need to control the price of this project. I need to be able to secure this job. And he's like, other cost plus builders, they sometimes, if I come under their budget, they ask me to increase my price because they make a percentage of that dollar amount. So if I charge them less, they're making less money. That doesn't work with their business model. And I was just shocked. Floored. I think just because we've been in this for so ethically, it's a huge ethical dilemma. That's what it comes down to. And I'm not saying every cost plus builder is like that, but this was a very large and reputable name in Austin. So take that as you will.
I feel like going through this conversation, we definitely don't make the decisions that are easy for us internally. We make the decisions that we feel like are ethically and morally right for us and the client, and we can go to sleep at the end of the day and feel good about the decisions that we make. And I think sometimes it's a good reminder because we do take the longer route during pre-construction. But I do feel good about going to sleep at the end of every day because sometimes it is hard, like when you're bidding against somebody that you know is not giving a full bid. It's tough because and you want to be able to explain it eloquently to the client in a way that you're not putting down the other builder. But it is difficult because you're like, I know how this is going to go and I'll hear from you. Please reach back out to me in a year.
I'm interested.
We're going to be around.
All right, guys, I'm going to ask some rapid fire questions and I just want you to answer it with the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, no.
All right. We'll start with Edgar. Best characteristics of a client.
Trust.
Trust was mine. I didn't realize they were doing the same.
Trust times 3.
For me, it's a little different. It's reasonableness. I think as an operations guy, I like to know that the person in front of me is reasonable.
For sure.
Okay, what's a red flag when starting with a new client?
Red flag.
Untrust. Opposite of trust.
I think, I'm going to say what Josh said. It's being unreasonable and seeing that very early before we've even started something. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah, I think not trusting our expertise is part of it too. I've had a good amount where I think they saw an article, or I don't know where they got this information. They're like, no, we're not going to use zip. We're going to use this and we're going to use that. And I'm like, this is part of my job, is building science and understanding that. I'm open to things because things change, but
yeah, absolutely open to the conversation.
Yeah.
I like to pay attention to the couple together during initial walkthroughs and seeing if they can, because there's going to be a lot of, like I said, conflict during construction between everybody involved, but conflict isn't a bad thing. What I'm saying, it's not a bad thing. It's
how
just
it's handled, right?
It's how it's handled and how they communicate with each other when they disagree on something, because that is going to show me a lot about how they're going to communicate to our team and the subcontractors on the job. Because if it's productive, then that's great.
Yeah, I would go right into that too. That was exactly what I was going to say. I'm a big reader of energy with couples. And if you're fighting in front of me within the first 15 minutes of me being at your house, it's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Just because I know in my heart there's going to be a ton of these decisions that need to be made. And so there has to be alignment on the couple side and the partner side before I even step in to ask you these questions.
Or just negotiation. Like the other one's willing to be like, oh, you really want that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be things you really want too.
Yes.
Okay, what is something people might not know about you? This one's exciting.
Does it have to be work related? Yeah.
No, it can be personal or work.
I think I started at Skelly Build as a project manager before I went into this position. The way I estimate is thinking through the process, because I was there. I used to be on site. So I think that's a big point that people should know.
Nice.
Yeah, and actually we all have that.
Yeah.
Which I think is super beneficial, because estimating and project management have to merge during the estimating process to think through
all the things,
everything that can happen, especially like in a historical home or something.
I feel like these are corporate icebreakers. I had a pet squirrel growing up. That
Did
was
you?
really
Did you
exciting.
actually?
Yes, I did. He fell out of an In-N-Out palm tree as a baby. And we called the wildlife facility. This is in California. And they're like, just wait for the mom. The mom didn't come back.
Oh.
And so they're like, just hold on to him. And he was the best pet I've ever had. He was fiercely territorial. He hated men outside of my dad and my brother. But like loved women. Would like...
Wait, Lalita, did you
protecting
train
one.
this squirrel?
You bet your bottom dollar. During the pre-construction process, I trained the squirrel.
What is the squirrel's life span?
He ended up going and like living out. Like once he like reached a year,
When he was rehabilitated.
he wanted to live out.
I am extremely good at Tetris.
Yeah.
I feel like you said that to me
Extremely
recently.
good
I'm
at Tetris.
surprised.
Yeah.
Is there like a grandmaster of Tetris
So
situation?
there's a game I play where you play people across the world and you play 100 people at once. And I usually get top 3 every time.
What?
Yeah. So I'll blow your guys' minds with how good I am at Tetris.
My answers sound so silly now compared to you
The
guys.
amount of hobbies that Josh somehow fits into his life.
We need to get a sponsor for that Tetris app on
That
this
would be
next
really
one.
good.
I know. How are you not being recognized for this?
I mean, it's a shame.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, if you weren't in this role, what would you be doing?
Generational wealth not working. Thank you. I was not blessed with that.
Wait, did you just say trust fund?
Trust fund, I wish.
Receive a trust fund. Is that an option?
No, unfortunately, I was not born with that option, Diana. But if we're being truthful,
I like that answer.
I love construction. I do. There's so much. There's an artistic element to it. There's a scientific element to it. But gosh, if I could just sip margaritas on the beach for a living, that would be awesome.
Hey, I hear you.
Seriously. Oh my God, that's a great
For me,
answer.
it's being a park ranger. I've always wanted to be a park ranger my whole life. That's why I love
Mystery
going to national
Yosemite.
parks. I would do that in a heartbeat if I wasn't doing this.
You should get one of those little books that you check off all the national parks.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I nerded out hard, so I have a few of those done already.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. It's
I would be option 1, clearly. And then, which only would come later in life. I would not want to have been a trust fund baby right out of college.
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't have developed
You need the struggle.
life skill. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to get some work ethic in.
Yeah, we've struggled enough though, Diana.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I have struggled enough. And then I would be probably a travel advisor.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be great at that. I could
Thank
see
you.
that.
You'd be great at
So-
sipping margaritas.
So my favorite show growing up was definitely American Pickers.
Oh.
So I
I'll be
could
a picker.
totally see myself as someone cruising the country,
Yes.
rolling up to your house, knocking on the door, and be like, "Hey, can I search through your stuff?"
Oh.
There's a couple things I'm looking
They
for.
just fill your yard full
Yeah.
of crap.
Specifically, what's on your list?
Car stuff. I'm a big car junkie. I like the motorcycle stuff.
I like the signs, old
I
signs.
love old signs. I love anything that is cast iron and speaks to a different age of America, where we were manufacturing country,
and build stuff to last.
and and things lasted for hundreds of years. So yeah, I would totally be an American picker.
So they go into random people's houses and then they offer to purchase these items?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
the reason they're called a picker is because essentially they're going to go through your shed that's filled to the brim with
Crap.
stuff that you've been collecting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're literally going to sort through it all, sort through the rats, the cockroaches, the bugs. You're going to find that one item
Yeah.
that you know somebody's been looking for. What's really funny at how it correlates with us is you work with designers a lot when you do this stuff. So a designer will reach out and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a period correct lamp. It's got green stained glass, and I'll pay top dollar for it." And great. That's on my list of things I'm looking for when I'm searching through people's stuff.
Antique hunting.
Yeah, but more specifically for design.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, even like when we're designing restaurants and designing commercial buildings, there's a lot of these big ticket signs
Yeah.
that they want period correct to actually match what business that you're chasing.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Okay, favorite thing to do in Austin?
Paddleboarding.
Nice.
Paddleboarding is fun in Austin. Just getting in the water is great. It's hot % of the year, so yeah.
Mine's getting weird, but I like driving around the neighborhoods and seeing all the historical homes, and like I love downtown and seeing the mansions, and I just really enjoy seeing how things were built a long time ago.
You're just so in it, Josh. I love it.
I live a little bit on the outskirts of Austin, so for me going into town and just feeling that vibe downtown and having the different areas, west or central or east, you get such a wide variety of people, and I like to people watch as well, so it's fun just being out there and feeling that energy. But I also like when I'm done, I want to go back to my quiet space. And
You're not really that. You're still in Austin.
Yeah, you're still not
10 minutes from downtown.
16 minutes.
Okay, 16
16
minutes.
minutes in an Uber.
He's like acting like he lives in the boonies.
His address says Austin.
Yeah, it says Austin very clearly. Okay, favorite thing to do in Austin. Definitely like in the young kid phase of my life, but I like trying new restaurants. I like comedy shows when those can fit in. I feel like Austin has a good comedy scene, restaurant scene
amazing.
too. And that's something that I've been in Austin for a long time, and that has definitely transitioned into a really good food scene
Yeah,
in Austin.
sure.
We're very lucky. Yeah, so those are a couple things.
You know, we have 5 more Michelin stars that came in just on
Did we?
barbecue
Is
spots.
it recognized
Oh, wow,
or like
Michelin?
full on Michelin?
Oh, no, I don't know.
To be honest.
But I was surprised it was all barbecue spots.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm.
We do like to do a lessons learned section. So just every month, business teaches us something new about people, systems, leaderships, or ourselves. So we kind of like to talk about one thing that you might have learned in the last month, because we do learn new things every day.
I'll start it off with perseverance. We closed a big project with Edgar, and it took a lot of perseverance in the pre-construction phase and a lot of diligence. It was an extremely large remodel with a ton of really high-end finishes and moving parts, and so I learned that when you get into this higher echelon of projects, you have to have perseverance.
Yeah.
Burn the midnight oil.
Yeah.
Keep at it so that you can close the deal.
Yeah, I actually wanted to comment on that same project too, and seeing how us as a team coming together and tackling that as a team instead of just one person trying to figure it out. Between all of us in the company, we've got over 150 years in construction experience.
Oh God, it's got to be way more.
Probably way more now, but
It's
you know,
like infinity years.
there's not something in our team that we haven't seen or done. So pulling at that experience has been huge for this project specifically, and having that presence in front of the client as a big united team, I think was very powerful, and it got us over that finish line.
Definitely.
Yeah, every meeting that Sean has left that he's been involved in with you guys, he's walked out of there and said the collaboration has been really good
Yeah, it was-
between everybody within our company. And he's felt propelled forward just by how awesome the collaboration has been. I have learned about Stack AI through Lalita.
Ooh.
Lalita is
Not sponsored.
definitely not. If we're going to be sponsored by anybody, it better be Builder Trend.
Also not sponsored.
Builder Trend, we're your number one sales team outside of Builder Trend. Lalita is definitely a great example of lifelong learning, and she knows that. But Stack AI has been something that she's been really patient in teaching me with, and was extremely helpful. It's a great program, and I really did appreciate it. Like once I was utilizing it to create an estimate last week, it was very helpful. It made things a lot more efficient, and I had like correct takeoff numbers, which you know, the accuracy of it was great.
Yeah, for anyone who's not familiar with what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
So it's takeoff software to just help with estimation, and they just have a really unique way of organizing all of that information that is really helpful on a project. There's so many trades and cost codes that go into it. And back in the day, you sat there with a ruler measuring things out or coming out on site, and now everything is digital and you can do takeoffs online, and it just helps immensely.
I used to have to print a full plan set and then pull out my tape measure.
Which is amazing because
And
that
literally
was,
scale it with my tape measure.
yeah, and that was even
10 years ago, 15
years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And now we
I mean,
can
that was
literally
normal.
scale our plans in a digital program, and we can do square footage, lineal footage, area, cubic
Counts.
yards,
Yeah.
the works.
And that
My
plays into
architectural
everything in our estimating with our subs as well.
Yeah.
And when Lita was saying earlier about when we negotiate with our subs, we're not thinking this is how much it costs. We're giving you square footage and linear footage on everything.
Sure.
So it again makes us just more accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had two tricky items. One with HVAC, just working within a VRF system in a condo. So it got a little bit tricky making modifications. If you've ever been in some apartments, those systems can be loud. It's a 5-ton unit in a 1,200 square foot space. It's drawing a lot of air. So just making modifications and nerding out on some of that with we had a duct supplier that came out on site that was extremely helpful. So that was great, just learning how to utilize some of those resources, and he pointed us in the right direction of what to use, and that was really awesome. Yeah,
Nice.
that's fun stuff for me.
I love it.
We've talked a lot about the business side, but one thing we care a lot about here at Skelly is the people behind the work. So let's talk about life outside of Skelly Build. How do you manage your work-life balance?
Ooh, everything I do, I always make sure I have time to create operational efficiencies. Like, inefficiencies in a workplace is my number one pet peeve, and one of the most.
Did anybody know that about
No,
you?
I had no clue.
God.
This is so insightful.
I've beat them to death with this term, obviously. So it's just doing everything through like setting templates, setting workplace like processes, because everything I do, if I can do it in a higher standard and in a faster time, that means I get more me time, and I love me time.
You should. That's
definitely being more efficient. I start a bit earlier in the morning, so I'll usually start around 7. And for me, it's if I don't have a deadline where I have to work late necessarily, I am on it until 5. But I also make it a priority to, once I'm done, to put the phone, turn it upside down, turn it on silent. And Diana and Sean has been fantastic about telling us. When I started this company, I was like, no, I want my work number and my personal number to be the same. And they said, no, you're not doing that. You're going to have a work number, so when you're working, we can get hold of you. And when you're not working, you can have your personal time and to recharge. Because I've also been on the other side where you never stop working and you burn out much quicker that way.
Yeah, and I think like being the two of you in pre-construction and sales, it's always hard to like also figure out your stopping point, right? Because it's like, oh, I see that sale, I can do that. But it is, I do think Sean and I, like, having kids has definitely propelled me in the direction of like, I'm done then. If I need to get to something, of course I will, but that's not every day.
But sometimes you'll push yourself and then you just become so inefficient because you're tired, your brain's melting. And
I'm most efficient earlier in the day for sure. Like, I'm an early person too, but I think making sure you're setting your own schedule. I think one of the other big things in sales, which we talk about a lot, is essentially like quality clients and making sure quality clients are the ones that are moving through the process, not somebody that's not a good fit for Skello. And there's obviously a lot of different questions to figure out if we're going to work together, but essentially not moving someone through the process that is going to eat up a lot of your time and not be a good fit, because that can suck up so much of your time, and then you're like, oh wow, I'm really stressed, my work-life balance is not right. And I think constantly evaluating every week, and I think it's okay to some weeks be like, oh, I worked a lot more that week, and then the next week be like, okay, I'm really with my kids.
But I think we know this. Things kind of come in waves, so you kind of know.
Evaluate it yourself.
I think when you naturally have work ethic, which every person at this table does, you feel guilty for not putting in 50 hours of work. And
it was the norm in construction to put in 60, 70, 80 hours of work. Like at the last company, I was working all weekend.
Absolutely.
Self-inflicted.
Yes.
Nobody was making me do that.
We're like you said, we're pre-programmed with work ethic.
Yeah.
But I always remind myself of the good old, we work to live, we don't live to work.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind myself constantly that the whole point of what I'm doing is so that my family can have a good life.
Oh, yeah.
And you transitioned into that really nicely the last few years.
Yeah, the last company I was at, and when I owned my own company, I did a terrible job at work-life. And I chased money like you wouldn't believe. My relationship suffered because of it. And that was one of the really beautiful things about meeting Sean and Diana, especially Miss Diana.
I'm way better at it.
Is that she made it very clear to me in the beginning that was she valued a work-life balance. And
it's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
I do value a work-life balance.
All right. What does a typical weekend look like for you partiers?
My life revolves around my daughter's soccer schedule for the most time.
She runs your life, obviously.
Yeah, I also do jiu-jitsu. Every Saturday morning I go roll with some men.
Tell me more.
We sweat into each other's eyes and mouths for an hour. So
God.
But
How do I sign up?
Yeah, that's very low on my list.
But yeah, generally I usually have a barbecue at my house every weekend with some friends, or Diana's been there a few times as well, where we end up being 30 people and it's absolute chaos and there's kids everywhere. But
Love it.
For me, that I honestly think that's my little piece of heaven, is having people at my house eating my food that I cooked. And just seeing the kids be kids and not be on iPads. That is what makes me happy. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I obviously appreciate the struggle because I'm always working on my own projects on my weekend.
Relaxing.
I always have some sort of construction project of my own happening, and
You sure do.
Yeah, sometimes I choose them, sometimes floods choose me. Oh, yeah, there's always something going on. Maybe one of these.
You like the tangibility of a project, though. And you've bought investment properties.
Yes.
Like, you've done a really good job of...
I grew up like very much lower, like in the poverty class, and I came from a country where I very much remember the struggle, remember being hungry, and that's not something a lot of people experience here. And I've had this inconsistency of home. We've always been torn from one place. My parents are great people, by the way. This is not, dogging on my life. But it's just created this strong desire for a secure and nice home space. So everything I do, like whether it's like my own property or investment properties, I always want to better it and make it nice and have that sense of security. And now it's nice working with other people home. So it's been very full life transition for me.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really cool.
Yeah, Lalita and myself, we're both immigrants. So.
Yeah, we're both immigrants.
Good point.
Yeah.
So we feel that
so
same,
interesting.
we always want better and more for our families.
Yeah. I don't have Edgar's beautiful accent, unfortunately.
That's really what sold it.
Yeah.
I'm actually American. This is just fake.
Don't ever lose the accent.
Yeah, what's funny is I feel like I'm a good mix between the both of y'all. A typical weekend for me is doing projects that I'm doing. Also, my son's working on something, going to school for this, or doing that. So I try to balance between getting things done and feeling satisfied over completing projects, and also being a good dad and taking him where he needs to be. My last few weekends I've spent working on his truck and really forming a bond with him. That balance between hanging out with my son and all projects done. And my wife as well.
Yeah. I have no balance on the weekends besides kids. That's it. Obviously, 4 kids, 5, 4, 2.5, and 9 months. So it's all about the kids, which is fine. Like, I am so happy with that right now.
Awesome.
I love it. What did we do this weekend? So much. We had 2 birthday parties. We had swim for all 4 of them. Atlas had dance. Cleo and Bond had soccer. Then we had 2 birthday parties after that. I took them all to Mario yesterday because it was raining in the afternoon. It was Bond's first movie. He loved it.
Awesome.
So it's constant.
So you
Like,
guys
go constant, and then everybody just passes out.
No, you guys are way better people than me. I couldn't have that many
Way
kids.
better.
I couldn't have that many kids. Lose them or strangle
Those kids
them.
don't want to lose me. Everybody's like, how do you keep track of your kids? I'm like, these kids don't leave my side. I'm way too freaking awesome.
I couldn't do it.
I do way too much awesome shit with my kids. Trust me.
yeah.
They're not going to run away. Seriously, they don't.
You're a super mom.
Thank you.
I have 2
Supermom,
cats and a dog, and I already get stressed out. But no more
It
kids.
doesn't mean I don't get
And Michael.
stressed out. It doesn't mean I don't get
And
stressed
Michael.
out. I just think you get in this, you just keep increasing it, and your threshold goes
Yeah.
up and up, and then you're like, oh, I just did 12 hours of crap
Yeah.
nonstop. That was fun.
Nice. Nice.
They're keeping you young. That's
I don't know about that. Thank you guys so much for joining. Submit questions, follow us on social, rate, share, subscribe. But thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Thank you very much. That was really fun.